Hello everybody. Alright, so we're playing Hexcells Infinite. We have lesson 4 and we're on 3-5 and we are going to move right in. I see a freebie here, it's a 0. We're going to call that like that. Alrighty, we're going to just start at the top left and work our way down. We don't know. Here's one in here. They're separate, so it's got to be this one is blue and this one's blue, and this one's got to be black. This means they're separated by a black tile. They cannot be adjacent to each other, so these two are good. So it has to be this one, and that second blue satisfies that too, so these are black. And that's gone, and that one is okay. This one must be, because let's turn this guy off here. This 2, turn that guy off. This 2 means that they're not consecutive, but that would be consecutive, so that has to be a right click. And this one has to be the blue. Alrighty, so this is 2, so it's got to be these two right here. This one's got to be black because of this 2, and these 2 satisfy that. This one coming down this way has got to be here, so this one has to be black. And then that means with this one has to be blue, and this one's going to be black. There's 3, so either one of these could be it. Alrighty, let's go back up here. We already discussed that one. This one here, they have to be adjacent. So it cannot be this one, because then the next adjacent one would be here, and that's black, so this one cannot be. No help there. We're good here. The 3 coming down this way has to be separate, and there's 5, so that could be anywhere. This one we don't know. This one, there's 2 in a line here. Could be any one of these for that second one, and then one of these 3, or one of these 4 is going to satisfy that. And one of these 4. And at most, so one of these 4, so this 3 would make it seem like one of these 2 has to be, so these 2 cannot be. These 2 have to be. And let's just take a look here. This 7 is a high number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So all of these would be blue. That satisfies that. This one's going to be black. This one's going to be blue. This one's going to be black. And then it could be any one of these. Yep. Alright, coming down this way. Coming down this way. Coming down this way. Since these 2 are split, it's got to be one on this side, one on this side, and one on this side. They can't be next to each other. So this one that is between these 3 has to be one of these 2, so that means this one's black. And then this one's black, this one's black, it's a freebie, this one's blue. Alright, what else can we get out of here? So one of these 2 and one of these 2. And one of these 4. 2 of these 4. We don't know which ones. 2 of these we don't know, but they're going to be next to each other. 2 of these we don't know. So one of these 3, but they're going to continue. So one of them has to be this one, and this one, and this one. Like that. All the rest of these are black. This goes away. This goes away. That 1, we can't figure this out yet. Can't figure the 2 out. This one's black. These 3 have to be blue. Because of this, it has to be black here, freebie here, freebie here, freebie here. Blue. One of these 2. Alright. So this gets turned off. Let's see what we have here. This 2. Okay, this 2 here. These 2 have to be black. This has to be blue because of this 1. This has to be black because there's already 2 blue ones here. These 2 are black. These are split apart, non-consecutive, so this one has to be black, this one has to be blue, this one has to be black. This one has to be black because there's already 2 blue here. This one has to be blue, black, black. And this 2 has to be blue here. This gets turned off. This one is black, this one is blue. Now we have this. So we have our 2 in this row. So these 2 are black. This one is blue. We still don't know here. And this one might be, oh, this is going to come down from here. So we're going to have to come back to this. This is going to be our last tile, I believe. Just because of the way that it's like, we got to get this one first to find out if there's 3, or this would be the 3rd one. If this one is on, then this one is on. If this one is off, then this one has to be on. So we got to figure out which one this one is, and this one. So we're going to come back to that. In this row here, okay, we got it. So this one says are 2 consecutive. There's consecutive. This one has to be black. Now we can come across here. We already have our 3. This one's going to be black. This one's going to be blue. Off, off, off. This one is going to be black. Here's a freebie. Here's 2 for this 2 here. And we have 3. So we know one of these 2 is going to be on. There's 2 and there's 3. So this one has to be black. And we already have our 2 here for this 2. So this one's going to be black. And that way this one has to be blue. And that turns that off. This 2 here is going to be on, and this one be off, and then this goes away. Alright, moving right along. Let's see what we have. We'll start back over, I guess we'll start back over here. We don't know. So one of these 2, one of these 2, one of these 3, one of these 2, okay, so we have one of these 4 and one more of these 3. But we already know this 1 needs a partner, so one of these is going to be black, one of these is going to be blue. That means these 2 are going to be black. And we have a 3 here. Makes it easy. 1, 2, 3. That 2 is satisfied. This 1 is now satisfied. Those 2 are black. It's a freebie there. These 2 on the outsides. We have... There's 3 in that row, and there's 2 here, so these gotta be blue, or black, I'm sorry. Here is a 4. We need these 2 on, and this one's off. This one has already got a blue, so this has to be black, this has to be blue. This goes off, this goes off. There's already 2 in this row, this one has to be off. This one has to be on. For this 2. This one, We have 2 in a row. This one would be the 3rd one in a row, so this has to be black. And this one has to be blue. And this one's going to be black. This goes off. And why did we turn this one off? Okay, this one says they're going to be 2 in a row, but only one of these. So it has to be this one and this one because of this one. 2 in a row. That one off, off, on. Okay, this is going to be black here. Black, black, freebie. Black, black, blue, black, black, and this turns off. And there's 2 already in here, so this one has to be black. Complete, no errors. We're good to go. Gonna move on to 3.6. We're gonna see how we do on this one. Oh my. Alright, we're just going to start here and work our way around and see what we have. Too hard to figure out that. Too hard to figure out that. Can't figure out the 1. Can't figure out the 2. Too hard to figure that out. Although 2 of these are going to be on. 1 of these 4. 2 of these. 2 of these, but not both of these. So it could be this one and it could be neither of these. Let's say it's 1 of these for this 1. If it's 1 of these and then these 2 are off, then it will be this one and this one. No. Cannot be this one and this one. So it has to be at least 1 of these. If both of these are off, and this one has to be on and this one has to be on, that means this is untrue. So 1 of these has to be on, which means these 2 are off. So 1 of these is on and 1 of these is on. And if 1 of these is on, these 2 are off. Simple so far. 3 out of these 4. 2 out of these, 1 out of these, 1 out of these 3. Alright, we'll move on. Too many. This 2 here, it's going to be 1 of these 2 and 1 of these 2. Otherwise they wouldn't be split. So it's going to be 1 and 4 or 1 and 3 or 2 and 4 and that's it. It's going to be one of those okay? And then this one is a 3, but there's 4 spots, so the 2 end ones are going to be on. This 2 now makes this one off. This 2 makes this one on, off, off. This has to be on. This one has to be on, off, off. On, okay. For this 1 of these 2 and 1 of these 2. So if 1 of these 2 is on, these 2 have to be on. And this 1 here is this one, so these are off. And this one is going to be on, so that's off. And we have 2, so this one has to be on. This one's off. This one is on. 1 of these 2. This one is on, off, off. So this one here, we have a 1. It's going to be 1 of these. So these 3 are going to be off. This 2 says they have to be separate, so these 2 cannot both be on at the same time. This one has to be on, which makes this 3 off. And then 1 of these 2. And 1 of these. So we can turn the 3 off. Leave the 1 on because that needs to be on. This 2 here, so this one's going to be off. And we have 5 spots and 4 non-consecutive, so this has to be on here. This one will be off because of this 2. This one has to be off. This one has to be off. So one of these 2, so this one has to be on, off, off, on, off, on. There's 2, these have to be off, on, one of these 2, one of these 3, off, okay, we'll come back to that. We're going to continue around the circle here. We have 6, we have lots to choose from. Here's a 5. One of these 2 is going to be on, at least one of these 2. So it looks like there's going to be 3 of these up here and 2 more down here. So 3 of these, and we already have 2, so one of these we know is going to be on. So that means this one has to be on. One of these 2 will be on, off, off. We have a 4, so these are going to be all on. There's our 3. We got that. There's our 2. There's our 2 there. This one's on. This one's off. One of these 2 will be on, and that'll be our second one coming down this way. So coming down this way, 1, 2. We just don't know what the other one is. So this, we're going to turn this one off for right now. Here's a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our 2. Off. There's 3 spots, and they cannot be consecutive, so this one has to be on, off, 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 off. One of these 2. 2 of these 3. One of these 2. This one's off, off. One of these 2. One of these 2. One of these 2. And 2 of these 3. Okay, we got that. Let's see what we have coming down here. So we already said one of these 2. And one of these 4. Turn that off. 3. That's a lot. So we're going to turn that off. Excuse me. Where were we here? Yeah, we already looked into this. Too many. Here's a 1. Could be any of those. So we know this is when you have a 2 and you have 4 spots and they're separate, you're going to have 2 on this side and 2 on this side. I'm sorry, 1 out of these 2 and 1 out of these 2. So if it's this one, it's easy. It's this and this one. If it's this one, it could be this one and this one. So if it's this one, it's this one. If it's this one, then it's this one. Okay. So only one of these 2. So that means one of these 3. And then we have this one. At least one of these 2. So coming down this way, at least one of these, maybe 2. That would make these 4 black, and these 2 blue. At least one of them. So that would mean one of these and one of these 4, or 2 of these and none of these 4. We'll turn that off. Wait a minute, let's see what we got here. A lot. Turn that one off. I feel like I'm missing something here. Oh, okay. So this one says they cannot be consecutive. That means it cannot be both of these for this 3. So one of these is on, one of these is off. That means these two have to both be on. And then this over here, this one has to be black. Could be either one of these two, but this 2 says that these two are right here, so these 3 have to be black. That means this one is on, off, and we have one of these two, but I think one of these diagonal 3s is good to go at this point. So one of these 2 and then one of these 4. But there was a diagonal 3, I think, up here. Yep, there it is. So off, 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 because we have these 2 plus this one. That turns that off. This 1, this 2, so only one of these. One of these has to be, so this has to be the other one. These 2 are going to be black. And with this 2 and this 1 here, this one has to be black. So that means this one has to be blue. And that would mean this one, because of this one here, this one's blue. And this one's black. This one's blue, black. These cannot be consecutive. So this one has to be black. And we already knew that one of these is blue. We already knew it. Let's come back up here. Let's see if we can get this 6 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's correct. So these are all blue. And that 6 goes away. How about this 3? 1, 2. Nope. That's still in play. That's still in play. This 1 is still in play. This 2, we already knew that. This 3. So one of these here is going to be on. But we don't know which one. I'm thinking it's going to be this one, because how else would you know what this one is? Because it's not in any of these lines here, unless it's one at the end. I bet you this is, based on that, and then these other 2 will be off, because you can't get to this one either. I'm not going to click it, but that's my thinking, is because this one, well, hang on, 1, 2, 3, yeah, these, all 3 of these could be on, and these could be off. Okay. I'm thinking this one's on, because it would, how else would you know what this one is and this one? Because there's not another one that crosses these going diagonal. Yeah, I think that's it. This one's going to be blue. And that would take care of these 3. That is correct. Okay, turn this 6 off, because we have a lot of choices. We have 4 spots for 2 blue. Okay, let's go back up here and see what we got. We got a 3, 1, 2. Could be that one. Could be that one. Could be that one. Nope, has to be this one. Remember, because of this 3 here. 1, 2, 3. So that this is off, this is off, this is off. So down here, this one's on. This one's on, this one's off, this one's on. We still need this one, so we can turn this off. one of these two, and one of these two, and one of these four for that. Okie dokie. Let's see what we have here. We already talked about that one. This one we haven't spoken about. So if one of these two are, then that would satisfy this 3. Then these would be black. And there's really nothing saying they can't be, so that's okay. If one of these 4 are on and these 2 are black, that means these 2 would be blue. And that would be okay too. So we don't know on that. Then I have this one coming down here. At most, one of these. At most. Can't beat both. And if it is one of these two, if it isn't, and it's one of these two, then these two are on. Which would be okay as well. And I think we're going to have the same situation here. Yeah. So one of these, well, it could be any of these with this. Okay. Back to here. If this one is on, then that 2 is satisfied. These would be off. If this one is on, this one is off. These 2 would be off. So that would make this 3 on, no, off, off. That wouldn't work. One of these has to be on, at least one of these. So only one of these. So this one has to be off. This one has to be on, off, 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 freebie. This one has to be on, off. One of these 2, that means this one has to be on, off, off, off because of this. This is off. Did we capture this one yet? No, we didn't. Okay, so that's still going. Let's see. One of these 2 is on. One of these 2 is on because of this 1. That means this one has to be off. One of these 2 because of this 1, so this one has to be off. That means this one has to be on. One of these 2, which we already said. One of these 2, which we already said. Could be both of these. Let's go back up to our 6 here. Let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so these 2 go on. We turn that off. Over here, we have 1, 2, and of course these 2, we already had that one. And over here we have, so one of these, could be this one. Nope, this one has to be on. That means this one has to be on. This one's off. On. Off. On. Okay. Back up here. So it could be this one, and these 2 could be off, and then one of these 4 would have to be on. Or if it is this one's black, and these 4 would be black, and that still would be possible. This one, it's all about this square right here, because we can't get anything else other than this square. So this one's going to be black, and it's going to be a 2, I betcha. So this one's going to be black, and these 3 will be black. These 2 will be blue. There's our 1, black. There's our 1. So there's our 2, black, black, blue, black, black. I'm still looking for this, so this one has to be black, freebie, black, blue, blue, black, black. 2 more remaining. So we know one of these is going to be a blue. So this has to be the other blue. Now we just have to figure out where our error is. So one of these, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So this one has to be black, black, blue. Alright, 3, 6, done. And we've completed our third set. Should we take a stab at this one, or at least let's just take a look at it at least? Maybe it's super simple. Yeah, we're only in 30 minutes. Let's take a look. Okay, a number in a blue cell tells you how many other blue cells are in a 2-hex radius. You can left click to open the guide and right click to mark it as complete. So just like the lines, there's going to be, if you click on this, if you left click on it, it says there's 18 in here. And then there's 1 in here. And there's 1 over here. And also 1 over here. And if you notice, these 2 1s overlap right there. So if this is on, everything else will be off. And that would satisfy both of these 1s. So it has to be on. And because you have to turn all the rest of them off, this will be a 0. You have to turn all these off. So that's how that works. This one, there's 1 in this area, in this shaded area, and there's 1 out of these 3. So that's the same 1. So all of these will be off. You can turn these off as you click, and then turn it back on. And it says there are 2 in a row. So this one has to be on. These 2 will be off. So that one's got done. These 2 are done. Moving over to this one. And since there's 18, I'm assuming all of these, I just have to count them. So you have 3, 7, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it is, all of these are blue because there's 18 in this little area. I guess that's the most you could have. These are all going to be blue. And we have 2 more. 1, 2, and we're good to go. Alright, let's take a stab at 4.2. So in this area, there's going to be 2. In this area, there's going to be 4. In this area, there's going to be 3. So it's going to be 3 out of these 5. And this one says there's going to be 3 in a row, but there's 4 spots. So we know that it's going to be 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. So these 2 are going to be blue. And now we only need 1 of these to be blue. And it's going to be coming down this way. So we're going to turn this off. Whoop, turn this back on. So it's going to be 1 of these 3. So we're going to turn this off, and this off, this one off, and this one off. This one says we are split apart, so this one has to be on. 1 of these is going to be on. 1 of these is going to be on. let's see, we have 4 here with split, and it's going to be 5 spots, so we know it's going to be this one. So the two most extreme, if you have a number with a dash, it's the 2 most extreme, and then these ones would be the ones that you're going to decide whether or not. And then we already have our 3 here, so we know this one's going to be black. This is blue, blue, black, black, one of these 2, and one of these 2. So this is off, and we don't know yet. But this 5, excuse me, yep, so one of these 2 will satisfy that. This one has 3, so it's going to be 1, 2, and one of these 2. That's correct. This 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of these 2 will be 5, so we're going to come back to that. 1, 2, 3. It's important to know you don't count the one that is the square. So this one says 3, but it's not including that. There's one more. So 1, 2, 3, right? So it's important to know that. So you got 1, 2, 3 already shown. One of these 2 is going to be 4, and one of these 2 is going to be 5. And if it's this one will be, it'll be these 2. Whoops, I just clicked on accident. Gosh darn it. I'm gonna restart, because I'm pretty sure we can finish this puzzle without that. Alright, we already knew that these 3 were on, this one was off, these 2 were off, these 2 were on, these 2 were off, this 3, so that's off, yep, so this 1 we already knew, so these 2 have to be off. Because of this 4, it's the 2 outermost ones. So one of these 2 and one of these 2. So it's going to be this one and this one, or this one and this one, based on this, this, and this 4. Then we need really 2 of those to figure this out. And so it's going to be top and bottom, or side by side. Top and bottom, side by side. Okay. So if this one is, if it's side by side, then this one's off, then this one is on, off, off. Okay, so let's try this. 1, 2, 3, and one of these 3 is going to be on. We'll make it 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this, and this are all off. And let's see what we have here. So we already said for this one, it's either these 2 are on or off, and these 2 are on. So that means this one has to be off, this one's on. And we already have our 2 here, so this one's off. One of these is going to be on, so this one is off. One of these is going to be on for this 2, so this one has to be off. This one's on, off, on, because of this 2, off, on, off. There's 5, but there's 6 around it, so we're going to have on. So this is satisfied, this one's satisfied, so we're going to clear these out. All of these we can clear out. This one has its 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's off. This one is on. Turn that off. 1, 2, and one of these two. One of these two. Let's see what we have here. And one of these two, because of this one. Okay, so one of these and one of these will make up this 4. So you have one here, one here. I'm assuming this one's going to be the same, similar as this, but we're not going to click it because we don't know for sure. It's not a guessing game. We're going to leave these two lit up so we can come back to them. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to come back over here. So we have 6 in this line here. We have 7 spots, so only one of these is going to be off. So that means at most, so these have to be on. 2 of these 3 will be on. So 2 of these 3 will be on. That means this one's off and this one is off. So one of these two and one of these two. So it's either going to be this one and this one, or this one and this one. And that would mean this one is off. And this is going to tell you a lot about what is around it. So this one's going to be off. Hang on. One of these two. So if it's this one, oh, it could be these two. I'm glad I didn't click that. It could be this one, and it could be this one. Is that right? Yeah. No, because of this one coming down. So this one says either this one is on, that would be off, and then these two would be on, or this one is on, this one's off, and these two are on. But either way, this one will be on. So this one is on. Alright, so that makes sense. So we're just deciding which one of these two is going to be on for the 6 and the 2. And then this will fill in this 1. So it's going to have to be determined by this 4. And we have 1, 2, 3, and it's either going to be this one or this one, and that would be 4. So all the rest of these, this line of 4 and this line of 3, are going to be off. Like that. And because of this 2 here, these are going to be on. These are going to be off. One of these is going to be on, which we kind of knew. That one's off. One of these. Okay, we can turn this. Oh, this 2 says this has to be blue. And then this one will be black. And this one will be blue, and this one will be black. Alright. And you can't go fast because I almost clicked here and said these 2 are on because of this. But that wouldn't make this true. So this is satisfied. That's satisfied. 1, 2, 3. We don't know. This is off. This 6 is off. This 3. 1, 2. We don't know which one. So we can leave that on. We can leave that on. 1, 2. This one's off. One of these two. So 1, 2, 3. So this has to be off. This will tell us a lot. So this one's going to be off. 2 in a row. 3 spots. So the middle one has to be. This one's off. This one's on. This one's off. On. And that satisfies 1, 2, 3. That's for this 3 here. That 2 is good. This 2, just like I said, 1, 2. So one of these 2. And I'm assuming the same thing's going to happen with these 2 up here. This is going to be, you know, one of these 2 or 2 of these 2. So we're going to climb up here. 4. 1, 2, 3, and then one of these. And oh, we can overlap these two. So we already know one of these is going to be blue. Here's a little trick. So one of these 4 are going to be blue. This 3 is 1, 2, and we already know that one of these 4 are going to be blue. So this one has to be black. And that's going to tell us a lot. 2, split apart, non-consecutive, so we know that it's going to be the outside ones. This one's blue, blue, and black, blue, and then these 3 are black. So this is satisfied. This one is satisfied. This one has to be blue, black, on, and of course. So now if you do this, turn them all on. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the rest are black. Go slow. Alright. Let's see. One of these 2, that is correct. One of these 2, that is correct. One of these 2, that is correct. And one of these 2. Okay. But we have a freebie right here. So these 2 are going to be off. This one's going to be on, off, and on. Yes. And there we go. Alright. We've been going for a little bit over 47 minutes. I think we're going to wrap it up. I don't want to get into a new puzzle. Let's check our progress on this guy. So we have 4-1 and 4-2. Our lesson 4. I want to take a look at the. No, I don't want to take. Let's be surprised. So we're moving right along for our tutorial, and I want you to like and subscribe. I guess that helps everybody's. It helps everybody's. What do you call them? Statistics and metrics on YouTube. So like and subscribe if you will, please. Alright. Have a good day.